In this lesson, we're going to take the two-dimensional Lewis structures and structural formulas that we've been drawing and try to convert those into something that's more three-dimensional. So we'll talk about the actual molecular geometry that these molecules have and the bond angles. Now, when we say bond angles, let's imagine that we have this molecule right here, which is methane. CH4 is its formula. And we've drawn this a few times already. If you could somehow take a little teeny tiny protractor and measure the angle between that spot right there and between those two carbon-hydrogen bonds, what would that angle be? Now, a lot of students look at that and they say, well, it looks like a perfect 90-degree angle. And that looks like it could be the correct answer, but as it turns out, it's not. It's actually not 90 degrees. And that's because when we draw these molecules on a two-dimensional surface, like a screen or a sheet of paper, we're actually distorting the picture that we have here. And so we're going to try to turn these into three-dimensional structures. If you have a molecular model kit that you can actually use to make three-dimensional models or structures out of these, this may help you as well. Now, as it turns out, if we take that CH4 molecule and turn it into a three-dimensional structure, it looks something more like this. And so that's a little bit easier to see. And the angle is actually 109.5 degrees. And anytime that we have a structure with 4 sigma bonds, like this, and there are no unshared pairs involved, well, we call that tetrahedral. That's the name of this structure. It's called a tetrahedral geometry. And the bond angle, like we said, is going to be 109.5 degrees. Now, let's imagine that we take one of those sigma bonds and we take it off and we replace that with an unshared electron pair. So we have something like this. So 3 sigma bonds and 1 unshared pair. Now, you don't see that unshared electron pair because electrons are very, very small. They're basically invisible. And so you can imagine that those electrons are somewhere up here, but you don't see them. Okay, so what we have is that structure right there. And the shape there is called trigonal pyramidal, or sometimes just called pyramidal for short. And the angle is actually 107 degrees. Now, why is it not the same as the 109.5 that we had before? Well, it has to do with those unshared electrons. And as it turns out, unshared electron pairs repel more than shared pairs do. And so because we have that unshared pair, that's actually pushing down those other sigma bonds a little bit closer to each other. And so the bond angle is 107 instead of 109.5 like it was earlier. Now, if we repeat this process and take away another one of those sigma bonds and replace it with another unshared pair, we have something like this. So 2 sigma bonds and 2 unshared pairs, that's called bent. And as you can probably guess, the bond angle is going to be a little bit less than the 107 we had before, because now we have 2 unshared pairs repelling even more. And so the bond angle is about 105 degrees in this structure, or about 104.5 degrees if you want to be really specific. So pretty close to 105. Now let's take another structure. Let's say we have a shape here with 3 sigma bonds, and this time there are no unshared pairs. Once again, these structures these bonds are trying to get as far away from each other as they can. By the way, that's something called the VSEPR theory, sometimes pronounced VSEPR for short. The VSEPR theory is short for valence shell, electron pair, repulsion. And basically it says that these electron pairs that are participating in bonding, repel. They try to get as far away from each other as possible. And so that's why we can predict that the tetrahedral bond angle is going to be 109.5. Or in this case, this structure, which is called trigonal planar, mainly because it looks like a triangle. There's the trigonal part of it, and planar, it's basically a flat structure. We can predict the bond angle here too, and it's about 120 degrees. And hopefully that makes sense, because the whole circle here is basically divided into 3 parts, and 360 divided by 3 gets us our 120 degrees. So that's the trigonal planar. Now if we replace one of those sigma bonds with an unshared pair, we have something like this. And it looks like the bent structure we had before. The bond angle is not exactly the same. This is not technically a bent structure. We actually call it angular. So it's a little bit different than we had before. And since we have the unshared pair, the bond angle is going to be a little bit less than 120. It's about 117 degrees. Now another structure, we might have 2 sigma bonds. This is very similar to the structure we had in the carbon dioxide molecule. So it looked something like this, where there are 2 sigma bonds and there are no unshared pairs in this structure. Well, it looks like it's pretty much a straight molecule. That's called linear. And as you can see, this is a 180 degree bond angle. We can do the same thing for maybe an expanded octet. We had some exceptions to the octet in an earlier lecture. So this is one where we have 6 sigma bonds. And there are no unshared pairs here. If we arrange these so that all those bonds are as far away from each other as they can possibly be, that shape is called octahedral. It's called octahedral because if you connect all the dots here, you end up with a solid that has 8 faces. Octahedral. And the bond angle is 90 degrees. The way these are repelling each other, you have right angles at every corner there, at every bond. We can take a couple of these away, and let's imagine we have 4 sigma bonds and 2 unshared pairs. And in this case, we can see that the unshared pair on top is repelling that same unshared pair on the bottom. And so we still have something called square planar this time, since it basically looks like a square, and it's essentially a flat structure. There's our square. This bond angle here is about 90 degrees. So if you have 4 sigma bonds and 2 unshared pairs, it's square planar. And basically, if you determine the number of sigma bonds and the number of unshared pairs in a structure around that central atom, you can figure out its shape and its bond angle. And these are just a few examples. This is a longer list of common molecular geometries, not all of them by any means, but the most common ones. And so we had the ones that we listed earlier, but we also have others like square pyramidal and trigonal bipyramidal. Some of them have some interesting names like seesaw. Some of these we can group. If you want to take this list, we can actually group the first 3 together, and we can say that all of those first 3 molecular geometries all have the sum of their sigma bonds and unshared pairs to be 4. 4 plus 0 is 4, 3 plus 1 is 4, and 2 plus 2 is 4. And so you might remember that that tells us the hybridization. So we have sp3 hybridization for those first 3 geometries. We can do something similar for the next 2. Those have a sum of 3, so that would be sp2 geometry. Linear is a good example of sp geometry. And we have a few on here that are expanded octets, such as the next 3. All of those are sp3d2 geometries. And then trigonal bipyramidal and seesaw are both sp3d hybridization. And so if we look at this list, we can very easily determine the molecular geometry and bond angle of almost any molecular structure.